Yo, and welcome back to another video. And today I'll be showing you like tips and tricks how to PvP. And I'm gonna talk about strafing, block hitting, Wtapping, why you should have a sprint key or a sprint mod, and why to jump for crits, and also aim and CPS. But first, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's begin the video. Okay, so strafing. Strafing is, first of all, when you move to the side while PvPing, or like you press A and D to move to the side while you hit. Yeah, this is the person. This is a I am dirt challenge, and you press A and D to move around them. First of all, it's to avoid hits, which, if they have really good aim, you might not avoid their hits, but many times you will. And you can like sprint, and there's two types. We'll get into both. First, it's when you move to one side and back. Like, you just move to one side and back. And the other one's like when you go in a circle, you just keep going around and hitting. So that's the two types. Let's hop on Hypixel, and I'm gonna show you on a real target and not this I am dirt challenge person. Okay, so here we are with Mr. Steve on OP duels, and first we're gonna try to do the side to side. Okay, so first you want to go to one side, and then you want to go backwards and to the other side. So like just go to one side, and yeah, you're 2 HP, get back here. When you want to go to one side and just PvP, then you want to press S and go backwards, PvP a bit, then press go backwards. So it works like a, you see, it's working pretty well. Okay, so now we're trying the circle. We're just gonna keep running in circle, and that is working pretty good as well. Okay, so we're gonna just keep running in circle and just like can you get back here? I want to circle you. Can you get back here? I want to circle you. Block hitting. You block while hitting. So the advantages of this is when you hold your sword like this, you take less damage. And when you're block hitting, you have a pretty good chance of taking less damage. And again, when you're holding your sword like this, you take less knockback. So you take less damage and knockback when holding the sword like this. So you have a good chance at not losing that many hearts and not flying that far back when block hitting. The most important factor that why you should block hit is it resets your sprint. You see, when I'm block hitting, it just looks like I'm getting speed and losing it very fast. Or just when you press W a lot of times. Okay, so when you your first hit is always the best hit. if we like put a zombie here, my best friend Zombo, if I sprint and hit him, that was pretty far. Sprint and hit, he goes really far. But if I just don't sprint and hit him, he doesn't go that far. Or I sprint and the next hit doesn't go that far. Okay, so what I recommend in block hitting, either if you get comboed, you block hit to take less knockback and deal more knockback, or in the start of a combo, you can block hit and then keep going. So block hit and then keep going. Okay, so but what happens if you just block hit too much? It might work sometimes, but then that will happen. So I mean, you should not block hit too much, but if you can start the combo with the block hit, or if you need them away from you, you can block hit. Wtapping. Wtapping, as I mentioned when talking about block hitting, it resets your sprint. It gets you the most knockback. So if you just W-tap, you get the first knockback every time, and they go flying. Okay, so the W-tapping. The W-tapping is when you press W a lot of times, and it just resets your sprints many times, because you stop sprinting, then start, then stop, then start. So you will always get the first hit. Like the best, the maximum knockback you can get when you spam W. And this is to make combos. If you're strafing around someone and you reset your knockback all the time, like, then it's gonna be very hard for them to hit you when they go flying every time. So that's what W-tapping, you spam W, and you can also, you don't just have to run and spam W. The point is to like spam W while you're moving to or either the circle or the other way, but you spam W so you can get the maximum amount of knockback. Okay, so W-tapping is to make a combo. You want to spam W-tap while you strafe to make a good combo. I just got set on fire. That was nice. And you should. It's much easier to circle strafe while PvPing, or with the W-tap. It's much easier to circle. What do you want? Do you want mercy? Here, I'll give you some regen potion, okay? There you go. Okay, so if you just circle. Okay, so as you've seen, it works pretty well, just like W-tapping while circling. So that's what I recommend. You can do both, but I think the circle one is much easier. But now, why people use the rod or a bow before they PvP? Okay, first of all, it's when you get hit, you lose a lot of like momentum. When you have been sprinting for a little less than a second, it's harder to get the first hit. So that's why if you sprint and then hit, it's easier for you. But then you want the opponent to not have it that easy. That's why I rod this person, then I hit, it's much easier. Rod, hit. Rod, hit. Or you can bow hit. That's completely the same. That's to get the first hit and to remove his momentum. And when you get the first hit, it's much easier to gain the combo. So, okay, just something I want to get out of my mind real quick. Okay, so you should at least have a sprint key. There's a sprint mod where if you just press W, it just automatically sprints for you. Or if your forward key, which I hope is W, and it automatically sprints for you. Although I don't use it, and personally I think it's better to have a sprint key. But if you're double pressing W to sprint, that's a big no-no. Don't do that. That is so hard. If you get hit, you gotta double press it, and that's like 1 second where you're not sprinting, and that is. And when you get a lot of 1 seconds, you can end up like having a lot of time where you're not sprinting, and they can get free combos. So you can either get the auto sprint mod or a sprint key where you hold down when you're sprinting. Okay, so next up is aim and CPS. CPS is your clicks per second, how many clicks you can click per second. The higher CPS you got, the more chance you have to get more hits than you would have if you have a low CPS. So the higher CPS you have, the easier it is to get hits. So having a high CPS is really helpful, but it's not crucial. You don't need high CPS to win. You always see people having like insanely high CPS. My CPS like 6 or something. It's something, but it's not that fast. You see people just clicking really fast and having like a 12, 13 CPS, which is really good. But I'm not having it too hard to PvP. I can PvP pretty good, and my CPS is not that high. The aim is when you like you lock onto target. You need a aim in almost any game, and having a good aim helps in, again, almost every game. So you can first of all get aim by PvPing a lot, like on PvP servers or dual servers. Just PvP a lot and you will be better. And if you're starting to get like decent if you're starting to get decent aim, you think that your aim is pretty good, you can, to gain even better aim, you can always PvP with speed. When you have speed, it's harder to control your aim, but it's still, you can still PvP pretty well, but it's a bit harder, and that's what makes it better to practice with if you have decent amount of aim. And if you have now I just have a speed 1, but you can always like but you can also try speed 2 and or go on servers and PvP with speed 4, which is a lot harder than just PvPing with speed 1. But it's worth a shot, and if you keep going with and getting good with speed 4, then it's gonna be much easier when you get to know speed or speed 1 to PvP then. And before you go and practice your aim, I would recommend, if your aim is like decent, you think that your aim is decent and you have a good sensitivity and a DPI, then you can just keep on going. But for you who like have a very high sensitivity or a very low sensitivity, that you feel like you need a higher or lower, or maybe you're used to a very low sensitivity and maybe you should get higher sensitivity. The higher sensitivity you get used to, the easier it is. But you should not just go max sensitivity to and try learn that. You should find the sensitivity that fits your movements, that fits your playstyle and how much you feel like moving your mouse. And DPI is the sensitivity for your mouse. So when you open a chest or you go to settings, here I move around. I can turn this up and my mouse will go insane. And I can turn the all the way down and it goes really slowly. You find a sensitivity that is good for you and your DPI. You should find the DPI where you can like open a chest and take out everything pretty quickly. And that, if you have a good DPI, then you should start focusing on your sensitivity and trying to get that good sensitivity, the sensitivity you want. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned something. And that you go on and practice your PvP skills. And I will see you in the next video right after you have liked and subscribed. Goodbye.